Okay guys, so I want to quickly come to you and let you know about my experience with the Huda Beauty mini eyeshadow palettes. I wish I still had them with me, but you guys, I literally returned them probably about 4 or 5 hours ago. Let's get started. So basically I bought 2 eyeshadow palettes, and I'll list them in the video here somewhere here. It was a smoky palette and it was the warm palette at first. Those were the 2 shadow palettes I bought first. I played with the warm palette, Warm Obsessions. She calls it the Obsessions palette. Of course, I'm not obsessed since I took it back. But I played with the Warm Obsessions palette the first day I got it. Didn't have on any eyeshadow, only had on my regular base like I always do. I put on my Tarte Cosmetics concealer as my eyeshadow base. I didn't set it because I wanted the pigment to pop even more, and that's kind of what I've been doing lately. I haven't been setting my concealer. And I started off with one of the shadows, and I really kind of dug into it in a literal sense, and the payoff just wasn't there. It just wasn't what I was seeing in the pan. So I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? So and I only did like one eye. Like I was only practicing playing with it with one eye, and so I ended up like going into the next shadow, changing up the brush to make sure like it wasn't the brush. So I got a more dense brush so that I can pack on the shadow, and that just wasn't the case. It just didn't work out. It just did not work out. So I then went in with another shadow, well, not another shadow, but another primer. I ended up using the MAC Paint Pot, a fresh hot new one off the press shadow, what you want to call it, primer. And I went in with the smoky palette, went with clean brushes, and the payoff was not there. So I decided, okay, I gave up by that point and I wanted to do something else. Just wanted to do something else. So I waited a couple days later and I did the same thing. And I had, along the way, I said, because I was going to make these palettes work because they're so compact, and you can of course take them on the go with you on a trip somewhere and you not really take up a lot of space whatsoever. And that's what I like most about them. And I ordered the neons or whatever colors, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna play with these because I seen I think it's Tailor Made Jane on Instagram play with that eyeshadow palette. Now I don't remember if she played with the entire palette, she used all the colors, or she used the Morphe palette as well, but I know that she, you know, had the picture of the Morphe Cosmetics, I mean the Huda Beauty Brights palette in the video. So I played with that one. There's a bright neon orangey shade in there, one that I've never seen ever in life, and I started off with that color first. And you guys, the ultimate point of this video is to let you know that besides the fact that you can barely tap in there and there's gonna be so much kickback and fallout, the shadows just don't come out pigmented as they look in the pan. It reminds me of all of the reviews from the Anastasia Subculture palette. Basically, I never bought the Subculture palette. I'm not gonna buy the Subculture palette because I'm not gonna be sitting up here trying to lightly tap in there and get the payoff. I'm not gonna do that. No matter how much I tried to make those eyeshadow palettes work, I bought 3. Keep in mind, about 3. None of them worked for me whatsoever. For me. Did you hear that? I said for me. They didn't work for me whatsoever. The the eyeshadow skipped on me. Like I would place, like I use the smoky palette, I put a little bit of black in the corner of my eye, and then I would go back to blend at the edges. Where did the black go? It's basically what I want to tell you. It just didn't work out. Like I have one video where I literally only use one shadow from the palette. That's mainly because, like, off camera I just did a test run. I said, let me see if this next shadow is gonna work. Off camera, no. So I ended up just going ahead and using my Morphe palette. And it's crazy because, like, I know it's not me, I know it's not my brushes, because as soon as I go in with the Morphe palette, I had no problems whatsoever. All of my eyeshadows blended perfectly. They did not skip. They did not, like, you know, not give me the payoff that I wanted or anything like that. So I know it's not me, so to say. But somebody else who is a diehard Huda Beauty fan, somebody who is aiming to, you know, possibly be on Huda Beauty's page, is gonna say, like, it's an amazing palette. But honestly, to give up $27 for that palette, I would absolutely tell you to go against that. Like, don't do it, because you can get the Morphe 35B palette or 35O palette or whatever other palettes that they have for basically the same price, with 15 probably more shadows and bigger shadows than you'll get from Huda Beauty's $27 9 shadow palette. You know what I'm saying? So spend your money at your own, you know, discretion, you know, whatever. Just know that Serenity came to you and told you that it's honestly not worth it. Like, buy a Morphe palette, buy a Coastal Scents palette for $10 or $15, cheaper than the Morphe palettes. It's going to work. Like, a lot of makeup artists started off with Coastal Scents eyeshadow palettes, but like I said, I wanted it for the convenience of it, you know, but it just didn't work out. I'm also going to link a video from a guy named Michael Finch. I follow him on here. I follow him on Instagram, and all of his feelings are everything I felt about those eyeshadows in that palette. Now, don't get me wrong, he did review, he reviewed the he reviewed her bigger palettes first, and he was just like, oh, I'm disgusted. Basically disgusted because the payoff, the shadows, it was all wrong. So she still had him on PR, and she sent him the mini palettes. I think he was a little bit nicer on the mini palettes, but he was still like, no, I don't think you should spend your $27 on it. Ultimately, that's what he said. So you can tell, like, he was not excited for those palettes whatsoever. So, like I said, I feel exactly how he felt. So I'm going to leave a link down below for both of his reviews. One for the Desert Dusk, I think, palette, and then the mini palettes, because he did a review for both of them. He is on her PR list. Yeah, so he's getting things from her. But yeah, no, don't spend your coins on that, because you might be a little disappointed, just a tad or a lot, because, you know, Sephora likes to give you that store credit instead of giving you your money back. I happen to get my money back this time because, you know what I'm saying, JCPenney didn't want to come bring them no little JCPenney card or nothing, so I got my money back. But yeah, that's my, like, review for the Huda Beauty palette. Like I said, it was great for the size, the convenience, but for its color, payoff, all of that, it's a no. It's a no for your girl. I hope somebody finds this helpful, and if you did, definitely give me a thumbs up down below. If you don't like my review, give me a thumbs down, because there's going to be some haters. I know it's going to be some haters, but it is what it is. Just appreciate somebody's honesty and appreciate somebody's opinion. You know, you don't have to like it. Just respect the opinion. You don't have to give it a thumbs down just because you had a different experience with it. Make sense? Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next review. Bye.